Hello everyone. This is an account of my journey to Sierra Leone and my time spent there helping the Waterloo Hospital. This specific video will cover things that happened before me leaving and my journey to the country of Sierra Leone. One thing that I did before leaving was go on a backpacking trip with my uncle and a family friend. I was really glad that this happened because backpacking is one of my favorite activities. Unfortunately, I was a bit left behind and couldn't go on the day hike with the others because of some blisters I had developed, but that was okay with me because I had brought a fishing pole and was able to catch some fish and hang out at the campsite. Something that I'm not going to be able to cover in this video is the ordeal I went through in trying to get enough medication for my trip to Sierra Leone. I just didn't have time to talk about it in the video, but maybe I'll talk about it next week. Another very memorable thing that I did before I left was going to Sheep Creek Falls with Bradley Burney and Caleb Atkins. Brad is the one driving here, and he's been a really good friend of mine ever since college started, when we've been in many of the same classes together because we were both accounting majors. And Caleb is someone who I didn't know very well, even though I graduated from high school with him, but he's been my roommate for the past year, along with his brother, and I've gotten to know him very well, and I've become very good friends with him. Another crazy adventure that happened was me driving myself and my girlfriend, shout out to Kristen Byerly, to her house and then back to UCA where she is deaning because she had home leave. Let's just say it involved illness, car trouble, missing the bus, and about 15 hours of driving probably. Here we have the long sought after medication that should cover me for my whole stay in Sierra Leone, and also a video that I don't even remember taking because it was so early in the morning. I do, however, remember eating the omelet and hash browns because they were so good. Thank you, Tommy's Dutch Lunch, for making such good food. This was the first flight I took from Walla Walla to Seattle. It wasn't on my original itinerary, but my mom was so kind to let me use her air miles. Originally, my dad was so kind to let me use his air miles, but that was on the first set of flights that were canceled because I didn't have my medication yet. I guess mom wins this round. On my first flight, there was someone who was having somewhat of a medical emergency. They called over the intercom to see if anyone was a medical professional on the plane, just like you see in the movies. And when we landed, they asked that everyone stay in their seats while paramedics boarded the plane and escorted the lady off, just to make sure everything was okay. On my third flight, I was sitting next to an elderly woman from the country of Ghana. She didn't speak any English and she had very bad knees, and so I was able to help her around, get to the lavatory, communicate with the flight attendants and such. It was a very interesting experience, and I wish I could have actually talked to her. While traveling to Sierra Leone, I was lucky enough to score a random check while going through security and got a random pat down. Also, I was lucky enough to have my bag sorted through by the TSA. So, double checked on both accounts, and I made it through without a scratch. This is the countryside of Sierra Leone, and it's very beautiful, as you can see. I tried to take it in as much as possible, but on a 2.5 hour long ride from the airport to the hospital in Waterloo, it's inevitable that I fell asleep. Within my first day in Sierra Leone, I went to a local restaurant and had some of the food there. I was taken to the local market and saw a very cute monkey, and as I was coming back, I saw some pigs eating trash, which I've never seen that before. This is essentially what my apartment looked like when I got here, minus my luggage, of course. As you could see, the kitchen could use some work. That big bag on the counter is full of smaller bags of water. That's how we get our drinking water here, is in small bags. I'll have to show you some of that maybe when I post next week. I'm honestly not quite sure why there are 3 beds in this room, because I'm the only one living in this apartment. It's quite nice to have the whole apartment to myself, but I really could have gone for a smaller apartment. It's probably simply because the rest of them were filled up. As you can see, the bathroom is quite simple and not very much in terms of amenities. I was also given my own office, which was very kind of them. It used to be a doctor's office, which is why there's a sink in here and also a whole bunch of medical books. And yes, what you're seeing is a Windows 10 laptop with a 2007 Office suite on it. I'm not quite sure how that happened, but maybe all one can say is only in Africa. The second full day I was here was the first day it rained, and I didn't even think it was raining at first because it was so loud. And this, friends and family, had to be the biggest challenge yet. A spider on the wall. As those closest to me know, I am not really a fan of spiders. Me and my girlfriend have about an equal fear of them and would take turns killing them when they would come into the house. And so maybe Africa wasn't the best idea in that respect, but I decided to tough it out anyway. What's happening here is that it's a very, very flat spider, and so I tried to hit it on the wall near the ceiling, but it fell off, and then I tried to subsequently hit it again while it was on the floor, but it scurried under the kitchen cabinets, and so I had to pull things out of the way, and then I was able to eventually kind of stab it with the broom end until it eventually died and I came out the victor. This week's video ends with a photo of church, but since it was my first week I didn't want to disrupt anything and I just snuck a quick photo. Thank you for watching the video, everyone, and I hope you tune in next week for my adventures in Sierra Leone.